I showed a Jersey heifer when the fair was down at Fireman Park.
I had my very first heifer that I showed. It was a Holstein heifer.
Actually, in 2009, I was grand, and last year I was also reserve.
I started showing lambs in 1956 when I was 7 years old.
I am showing pen of 3 commercial heifers, a turkey, and I'm at the Country Creations, and I did the AgMec show.
And how much money did you get for your turkeys?
$2,700.
And what are you going to do with that money?
I am going to save it up for a house and a car.
I have 3 children, and 2 of them that are old enough. They've done pens of 3, and this year is the first time to do Corcus hogs. I think everybody shows in the fair.
I started showing here in 1955, sows, pigs, little babies. And then in 56, I showed a bear which was grand champion, and he was the first bear that sold over $1 a pound.
Over $1 a pound.
Steers, heifers, and commercial steers. Anything you could be shown, they showed.
I've gotten close, I've gotten third. My brother has gotten grand and reserve.
Actually, in 2009, I was grand, and last year I was also reserve.
Yes, my dad showed, and my mom participated in horse show, and so she's not big on cattle, but my dad is, and we participate in the fair every year.
55, I had the grand champion bear in 55, 56, and 57. I won it 3 years in a row. In 79, my son exhibited the grand champion bear here. And this year, my granddaughter had the grand champion bear here.
I raised chickens, I raised pigs, I did bake shows.
And I showed rabbits for a couple of years, and then I switched to showing lambs. And then after lambs, I got involved showing cattle, and I never looked back. I found my passion, and I found what I enjoy doing, and so I continued showing cattle all the way through until graduation, and then even still a little bit after.
Well, like I said, I showed till 1960, and my wife and I got married, and then our children showed, and our grandchildren showed. And if I'm lucky enough to live 3 more years, my great-grandchild will get to show here at the fair. So we spent a lot of time down there, had a lot of fun, a lot of fond memories that we will always have, for the rest of our life. And, the children made some money to go to college with and stuff, so it's been a blessing for us. Well, they showed sheep, and we showed some dairy heifers that I had raised on the farm, but that's what they showed. And my grandchildren, they are hogs. And had commercial heifers, halter heifers. So I don't know what my great-grandchildren are going to do, but they'll have something here, I'm sure.
In 1964, I was fortunate enough to have champion lamb, and I sold it that year, I remember, for $425, and I made quite a bit of money.
So I was lucky in 62 and had champion lamb, and he brought $5 a pound, which was really great.
And when I was 9 years old, I joined the Zionsville 4-H Club and began with some animal projects of my own. I had lambs and a steer my first year, and that was quite a bit for my first year, but I did real well with them. And since that, I've had lambs, hogs, steers. I've showed commercial heifers, and like my sister, I've raised and exhibited Santa Gertrudis cattle as well.
And that picture that rooster was taken at my farm out there, and that's in 1922. That's a prize that we never did get any money. All we got was a ribbon.
I started showing colts as soon as you could, which was in 3rd grade, and I showed all the way through my senior year in high school.
Growing up, I showed barrows for my entire career from when I turned 9 till the time I graduated high school. My 3 kids, all 3 showed barrows for 9 years. They showed goats, showed commercial heifers.
And I made banana bread, and I got Superior Champion. I made a cake with sprinkles on it and marshmallow icing.
And then I showed pigs, and I fell in love with pigs. I showed pigs ever since. It was my dream come true showing pigs. I lay with them at night, I pet with them, I make them go to sleep. I love pigs.
Halter heifers, steers, I showed in the majors. I did the calf scramble one year.
scrambled in 2012, showed in 2013.
Through Washington County Fair, I've been able to show heifers, steers, commercial heifers, and lambs.
I believe I had champion steer in 1978, and I had a reserve champion in 1976, I recall. That's been a long time ago.
I was a calf scramble winner back in the day, and so yeah, I showed lambs and steers and heifers.
And this is a gold star winner that my son got. These two pictures together in the 4-H when he was a senior.
I had a series of gilt and showed down at Fireman's Park, and that was before the fairgrounds was here, so I'll go back a few years.
I did a page of penmanship, a pencil drawing, and a picture of a home from the old homestead coffee can.
Reserve Grand Champion steer last year, and then in 2009 I won the Grand Champion commercial halter heifer.
My kids have showed ever since they were in the 3rd grade till they graduated. They've showed carcass pigs, show bearers, halter heifers, and registered Angus.
Our kids show in the fair. They have, since they were young ones. One's graduated and gone now, and then we have a daughter that's a freshman, and she shows a halter heifer.
My kids have showed ever since they were in the 3rd grade till they graduated. They've showed carcass pigs, show bearers, halter heifers, and registered Angus. Both of my son and daughter were in the calf scramble.
I started showing in 1980. I had a steer and a lamb at the first fair, and just my projects grew after that. We had registered Santa Gertrudis cattle, and I showed for many years, and Courtney and I showed at the Washington County Fair. Dad had showed previously for many years, and so it's been a real honor for many generations to participate and be involved.
I was Washington County Fair Queen in 2010. I showed barrows, commercial halter heifers, and carcass pigs. I really enjoyed my time. I met a lot of awesome people. Mr. Chambers right here was fair president at that time, so I was able to hang out with him and get to know him.
My son showed for many years. We showed weathered goats, we showed commercial heifers, we showed commercial steers here in Washington County.
Something crochet. This year I got reserve champion on my white tablecloth, and my kids have showed steers, they've showed hogs.
As far as the fair, we've been involved with the fairs since I was probably 8 or 9 years old, and showed rabbits and chickens and sheep and cows. We used to dairy, and we did all of those things.
That was my senior year. I showed a pig, I showed a horse, and I ran for Fair Queen, and that year got reserve champion with my colt, so I sold the colt instead of the barrow.
I showed colt in the Colt Project, ran for Fair Queen, and did arts and crafts and canning.
I was involved only through art projects through the school.
I'm Kelly Hughes, and I showed art in the fair.
Pet show and did country creations every year.
First year of 3rd grade, I showed hogs in the fair, and then every year after that, I showed a colt. In 1993, my first year, I was reserve champion. In 1998, I was grand champion.
Showed lambs and turkeys, and my kids, they showed goats and turkeys and broilers and commercial heifers.
Champion last year with my heifers, and I won first place out of a pen of 2 this year. So next year I'm looking to win, hopefully to win champion again with my next pen of heifers.
I started showing in the fair when I was 9 years old. I showed all the way through high school. As soon as I got out of high school, I started volunteering my time with the fair and have been doing it ever since. I showed fryers, I showed lambs, I showed market barrows, and the last years of my high school I showed market steers.
The biggest thing I ever won was last year grand champion with my heifer.
I have been involved in the fair since I was in 3rd grade, and I have been showing rabbits ever since I was 9.
What did I show when I was a kid? Well, I showed pigs, I showed dairy heifers, I showed a steer, I showed pigs, yes, grand champion steer my senior year, thanks to this man, Mr. Doug Pierce, and I showed pigs.
Champion lamb in 65.
The early 50s is when I started to show lambs because my dad had a number of sheep, and that's what I really remembered, the responsibility of getting up in the morning and feeding the lambs.
Yes, sir. I started as a 9-year-old at the Washington County Fair, exhibited a lamb my first year, and so that was exciting, and showed every year after until graduation from high school. And my son Parker Mason will be exhibiting his first project as a market barrow and 2 commercial heifers this year in his first Washington County Fair. So our 3rd generation is beginning this year, and it's quite exciting for us.
Yes, sir. Actually, I had lambs and barrows, and I had a steer one year, but champion lamb in 65.
Starting at 6, I started making little arts and crafts, and I would enter them into the Country Creations building. And I won grand champion one year on my flowers. I showed chickens. I had a brother. We both showed chickens here.
I did a bedroom. We remodeled a bedroom. In fact, my parents had to add the building to the room to our house for me to do this 4-H project.
I had grand champion steer in 78 in reserve and 76, I believe was what it was. So.
No, he always got the better case. Second best. Yeah, always got second. Always got scrapped, but we always did real good.
Yeah, we did. Always, our kids always made the sale.
Yeah, we always made the sale.
This is the night that I won grand champion with the Fair Queen.
When I was their age, I showed lambs, and one year I showed a hog.
I show pigs, turkeys, and chickens.
I've been involved in the Washington County Fair for 5 years, showing goats, commercial heifers, and entering things into the Country Creations.
I'm involved in Sandy Hill 4-H, which I'm showing a pen of 3 of Brangus heifers this year, and Texas Youth Ranch Rodeo Association. My ranch rodeo team is sitting first in the state with only 1 ranch rodeo to go.
Had pretty good luck. We had reserve champion steer one year, and we won a lot of belt buckles and a lot of prizes, and we sold in the fair sale for a lot of years.
I raised a steer.
This past year, I was fortunate enough to win first in my class and then reserve champion showman. So,
I showed pigs and heifers at the fair.
I've had a number of grand champion and reserves, and my whole dining room and living room is covered with banners and ribbons that I've won through the years.
And there's a picture of ribbons. You can see I was rather proud of them. Awarded grand champion banner in the entire 4-H division, clothing, canning, and baking. My mom had the grand champion angel food cake back in the day. And there's a picture of, guess who? 56.
I show pigs. I got 8th place in my class yesterday, and now I get to go sell it.
Well, it was my last year to show in 2015, and got grand champion turkey, and I sold it for $10,000, and that's still the record.